Folks, look, this is just something really, really, really cool and really, really important that I've been kind of thinking about, and I've been working on a couple different ways to kind of explain this. Man, here is the thing. Let's get into this pretty deeply here for a change. This is some of the stuff that I don't hold back, but I usually try to dig into this more when I'm working with somebody one-on-one or something like that. But I've been thinking about it, and it's just really, really crucial stuff. And I think this could be a big light bulb moment for a bunch of you guys. First of all, let's get into this real quick. Any of these big chords, E major, the D shape E chord, the C shape, all the notes, the A shape, the G shape, all those notes. In every one of those big giant chords, major chords up the fingerboard, there's only 3 notes. It's all just repeating. There's only the root, the fifth, the third, the fifth, the third, the root, the third, the root, the fifth. These are all repeating. There's only 3 notes. That's a triad. So that's why triads are so important. That's why rhythm, people use triads for rhythm, and that's why people are using triads for little hooks and musical ideas, because it only takes 3 notes to spell out these chords. Unless you're getting into some big, jazz chords and different extensions and stuff like that. For the most part, major, minor, major, major 7, major, dominant 7, they can all be made in any one of these proper triads. So the triads are they're the same notes over and over again. That's what a voicing is. A voicing could be this triad, that one. That's the same note. That's the fifth, the third, the root. That's the third, the fifth. The third, the root, the fifth. That's the root, the third. Root, fifth, third, and then that's the fifth, third, root. Okay, if I go to this shape, that triad. So look, here's my point. You don't get a proper triad on all groups of 3 strings, so you end up, mapping them out. The C shape has a proper triad on all 3 strings. All group of 3 strings. The A shape only has one right here and right here. But you can see as I play this fifth here, that's the fifth, that's the octave right there. So if I play this, I don't really need that. If I play this, I don't really need that. I'm already spelling out with those 3 notes. So when you start connecting the triads all over the fingerboard, and when you start doing that, well, then the same theory is applying to every one of those group of triads. So if I can make a major, minor, major, major 7, major, dominant 7, if I can make all those sounds in one triad, then I'm taking it to the next triad, and the same rule applies. You're just rearranging the order in which the root, third, fifth appears, okay? I hope that makes sense, because that's really what everybody needs to be working on. And that's really where everything is going to start making sense and really start connecting, okay? So with that being said, that thing I was doing at the beginning, that's an E7. So if I play an E chord and I play the E7, well, the thing that's making that an E7 is the root, that the key we're in, E, the flat 7, the D note, and the major third, the B flat. Is that right? Yeah. No, sorry, A flat. Good Lord. It's been a long day. I've been doing a bunch of teaching today. Can you tell? Yeah, so flat 7 and A flat. Okay, so if that's my flat 7, I had to think about that for a second, man. That's really not good. But anyway, this tritone, which that sounds fancy, don't let that fool you or confuse you. Major third, flat 7. Well, that pattern through all these chords is reoccurring. So if I play here, that's just a group of flat 7, major third, and E all the way across the fingerboard. Okay, if I'm playing this E7, then that's A7, that's B7. So you can see the tritone, if I go, it just, the pattern works out that way all over the fingerboard, and this works for any key, 1, 4, 5, that's where you're at. So my point of all this is, if I'm playing the flat 7 and major third of E, and I take that 2 notes down a half step, that becomes the major third and the flat 7 of A. B, same thing, up a half step. So what happens is when you start to see E, E7, A, you can see that the flat 7 of the E is pulling your ear towards the major third of the A. Then A7 is pulling your ear the half step back up to the E. If I go to B7, now that is pulling your ear back to the major third of the E. I really hope this makes sense. And so anywhere there's a tritone, it could be here, right? Oh, sorry. See, that wouldn't be a proper A triad, though. That would. So if I go, see, that's still an E triad. There's my third, there's my root, there's my fifth. There's A7, E7, there's A. Put the flat 7 on the top. You got to work this stuff out. Back to A, E, B. There's my B7. It's right there. So, okay, bear with me. So what happens is, if you can see where all these tritones are, here's my E7 here, out of the A shape. There's right. The pattern is crucial. But so if I'm playing lead guitar, those same notes are the ones I'm targeting to weave my way through the chord changes. Now look, just to play an E7, that doesn't mean that the guitar player has to be playing a 7 chord. If he's playing just a straight E up to A, no 7 chords, to B, B major, no B7, I'm still gonna go I can still play a 7 because it's leading to the next chord. Sorry. So when I do stuff like that, that is one of the most life-changing licks right there. I call it the life-changing lick because that is targeting that major third and E. So A, F sharp, chromatic up to the major third of the E. Or. Now watch. So my point of this is the flat 7 of the 1 chord is always a half step above the major third of the 4 chord. Then the flat 7 of the 4 chord is a half step below the major third of the root chord. Then, you guessed it, the flat 7 of the 5 chord is a half step above the root chord. I'm trying to make sure that I say this properly because I don't want to get off track. But that right there will spark so much on the guitar. If I play this. Here's a great one. Excuse me. You can hear how this is moving, right? All I'm doing is going E, E7, A7, E, E7, B, B7. This is the kind of stuff I'd be practicing if I was you guys. E, E7, B, see, E, E7, A, A7. You can start to see and hear how those are leading to each other. Okay, E, let's do here. E, E7, A, A7, E, E7, B, B7, E, E7, A, A7, staying on one group of 3 strings. Now, you can move it up and down if you want, but you gotta be sticking to the triads, 3 strings at a time. G, B, E, D, G, B, A, D, G, E, A, D. So that's a little bit of what of how we're thinking about this, right? So right, so sorry. That's why these sections work. These little. That's all pentatonic, but you can see that's a triad. That's a triad. That's a triad. That's a triad. So in all these triads, it all starts coming together. So like I was going to say, in all these little triads, that's where all that all comes from. So, I mean, I cannot possibly stress how important this kind of stuff is. This is how we learn how to play over chord changes. One chord leading to the next. It's all in the chord. So, guys, this is not going to be, I'm not going into a bunch of stories or anything on this video, but I wanted to share that because if you can start getting, and I'll refine this and get into it, and if you really want to get into it deep and get into tailoring it to your level, then yeah, please do a Zoom lesson or an in-person lesson here in Nashville. Check out the immersion experiences. We're working on all kinds of stuff to make this more accessible and more finely tuned for you guys. That's all I do is think about this stuff all day long. So definitely check out Uncle Larry's course. It just launched today. So check that out. It's going to be amazing with him and Brett Papa. I mean, you know, and thanks for supporting mine. Please subscribe. There's a huge majority of people that watch these videos that don't subscribe. So please just subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it can help benefit both of us. So just hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. And I'm trying to grow this channel, of course, because, you know, it helps everybody. So there's a little spiel on that. I don't know what's going on this evening. My parents just left yesterday. We've been with them for about 5 days, which was always amazing. We did the guitar party thing. We did the Monday night gig. Man, I was exhausted on the Monday night gig, man. If you guys were there, we came out. Here's what happens. You're exhausted on the gig, but you end up coming out and playing even harder because you're just like, man, something takes over, and you just, we play with the same amount of energy and ferociousness, whether there's 2 people sitting there or 2,000. It doesn't matter if it's 90 degrees or if the temperature's perfect. It doesn't matter. When you pick up that thing and you start playing music with your friends and that you love, it's 150% no matter what. And that's what I love. I love that we're not selling bullshit here, and you know, me and my friends that I get to play music with, they're like family, man. I mean, you know, we're going to a friend's kid's birthday party. We do the guitar party. We're friends. We hang out. I feel like Nick's family and my family, we're it's like one family. We're together. You know, it's amazing. We do all these things together, and it's just a really, really amazing thing that we've got going on here. I'm super grateful as I step back, and I really have just been trying to slow down a little bit. Sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. So, look, guys, stay inspired. Don't let this stuff overwhelm you. I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. You can see I'm fumbling around here just as bad as anybody. I've just been doing this a long time, and I kind of I don't let the complicated stuff get in my way. I'm thinking about this in a real caveman approach. It's listening, it's some core fundamentals, and it's just putting the work in. The only thing I've got going on from my side is I grew up around a lot of music. I jumped in, I started playing, and I've played a lot of gigs and a lot of different kinds of music, and so that helps. But look, I said I wasn't going to ramble on. Thanks a bunch for commenting on all these other videos. We've got 3 of them out that are doing good. Not that I care, but I do look at the numbers. It's good to have a video that reaches 22 or 25,000 people. So please put some comments below. Tell me what you want to see. And guys, look, have a great rest of the evening. I might go hear some bluegrass, and then we rock on with the rest of the week. Newsletter's coming out soon. Please sign up for the newsletter at GuthrieTrap.com. And that's the last favor I'm going to ask, other than hitting the tip jug. Thanks so much. Everybody's asking about the Martin. This is just a little custom shop Martin parlor that George Gruen, I think, had a hand in designing. And he said, I think you might like this. He handed it to me, and I played 1 chord. And I was like, man, I got to have that. So I love this guitar for just sitting around and playing around on the couch. You know, it's nice and comfortable. But, you know, it's funny. When you pick up a guitar, that guitar tells you how it wants to be played. I can't bang on this guitar. I can't hit the high strings real hard. The delicate guitar is going to create some delicate music. So, hey guys, thanks a bunch. We'll see you down the road real soon. And as always, much appreciated. All right, guys, see ya.